Hey everyone, welcome back to 996. The Howl. Utah Mammoth win 4-1 against the Detroit Red Wings. They finish their road trip above 500 with a winning record of 2-1. Are we going to talk about that Boston game Tuesday night? I think we all want to move on. But in that Boston game, man, the Mammoth had a really good first period. They had about 67% of 5-on-5 possession. They score first. They looked pretty good for a road game. But a goal near the end of the first and a goal immediately in the second period within the first minute, it demoralizes a team. They had 22% of 5-on-5 possession in that second period against Boston. They did not carry that first period play throughout the game. They got detracted from their game, out-muscled, outworked by the Bruins, who know how to finish, know how to score. We had Vanacek in net against Boston. I don't think you put the blame on Vanacek, even though the numbers are looking pretty poor for Vanacek. I think he's 2-7 on this season. The last two games he's played, no goal support. Against Calgary, Utah loses 1-0 with an empty netter, 2-0. And then against Boston, only one goal that came on the power play in the first by Barrett Hayden. So it was a pretty bad night after that Boston game. The fan base was riled up. I didn't feel good either. So luckily, 24 hours later, they had another game against the Red Wings and they win 4-1. Let's get into this game. Vejmelka gets to start against the Red Wings. He leads the league in wins with 15. Unbelievable. You would think this guy's at the bottom of the league in terms of wins, the way some fans talk about Vejmelka, but he's getting results and he really had a solid game against the Red Wings. So let's get into this game. Utah early, some good pressure. They had the first 4 shots on goal for the game, and they withheld the Detroit Red Wings to no shots on goal for the first 6 minutes of this game. But Detroit's the home team, so they're going to finally get it going, and they do. They had a great sustained offensive zone shift where they get 4 shots on net and within a minute, and they draw a penalty. So Detroit goes on the power play, full 2 minutes of O-zone pressure for the Red Wings, but they don't score on it. They get 3 shots on goal. It's a good kill by the Utah Mammoth, who've had an unbelievable penalty kill. I know they allowed a goal against Boston, but I think that's only their first power play goal against. They let in one against Detroit near the end of the game too, but it's been really good, the penalty kill for the Mammoth. After that kill, Carcone hits the post on a nice slot shot, and then there's a Schmaltz to Keller slot shot as well. And Keller, I would have liked a one-timer here. He sort of cradles the puck a little bit, and the goalie gets into position to make the save. Detroit does have a partial breakaway near the end of the first period, and it squeaks through Vejmelka's little wing there, and it trickles right by the post. So the game remains scoreless, 0-0 heading into the second. Utah outshot 11-8. I like Utah's 5-on-5 game. Detroit did have the lone power play in the first period, which got their mojo going a little bit. I think if Utah had a power play as well in the first, they would have had a better first period, but they were okay, and they got to be better. Every period they have to be better. So we go into the second period, and right away there's a Hayden to Durzi slot chance that gets saved. Durzi's had 4 points in the past 5 games. I know I was hard on Durzi maybe a week or 2 ago. He's finally starting to pick it up as an offensive defenseman we sorely need to get points on the board. So I like how he's getting points on the score sheet. And like I said, 4 points in the past 5 games. Then after that save, the first line comes out and they score the first goal of the game. It's Clayton Keller from Nick Schmaltz and JJ Peterka. The first line enters through the neutral zone with speed. They enter the offensive zone. Schmaltz goes way off to the side. Peterka draws his man away from the middle of the ice. And Keller in the middle of the ice gets away from his coverage. And Schmaltz from the sideboards throws it onto the net. And the rebound, a huge juicy rebound right to Clayton Keller, an open net. And he executes, and that's what we need, is someone from the slot to put the puck in the net when they get a shot on goal. That's why I always take down notes of slot shots, because I think any other team, they would score on these chances, but for the Mammoth, it's hard to come by. You look at Boston, whenever they had a shot in the slot, it looked like the puck was going to go in. So good on Keller to execute and not miss and actually get the goal. After that goal, Detroit did have more pressure than Utah, but Detroit commits a penalty. And on the power play, Detroit gets the better chance. It's a shorthanded 2-on-1, but they miss the net. And the Utah Magic don't score on their power play. When that power play expires, a fourth line comes out. There's an O'Brien to Yamamoto again in the slot. A lot of slot chances for Utah in this game, but unfortunately it gets denied by the Detroit goaltender. Then Utah goes on to back-to-back penalty kills. The first kill looked great. They're breaking up plays with their sticks, stopping the gap at the blue line. Detroit barely had any pressure. But on their second power play, Detroit had more pressure and they looked pretty dangerous. But again, the penalty kill comes through. And right when the PK expires and Detroit doesn't score, McBain scores to make it 2-0 from Carcone and Dursey. It's right after the penalty kill expires. Carcone has a puck sort of behind the net, comes to the side and does a nice quick, throws the puck to the front of the net, to the crease area. And McBain's there to pick up the garbage. Great to see McBain get rewarded. He needs to get on the score sheet as well. Utah does get a power play late in the second period. It turns into a 5-on-3, but this power play, man, it looked really bad against the Red Wings, going 0 for 4 on the power play. All 4 goals Utah scored 5-on-5. Utah definitely, and it's been that way even last year. Utah just a really good 5-on-5 team. If they just had a competent average power play, this team would be solidified in a playoff spot. But especially PP1 is looking really rough lately. Hayden's power play goal against Boston, that was PP number 2. Even in Detroit, the second unit looked pretty much way better than the first unit. So Utah goes into the third period up 2-0. They're outshot again 12-8, but again, I feel like Utah was the better team 5-on-5. They took a lot of penalties, so that's why the shots on goal were inflated for the red team. We go into the third period. They needed to stick with their game. Don't get detracted. Don't let the home team overpower you and control the play. And just, you've been playing good. Just, you gotta maintain that level of play, energy, consistency for the third period. And they get a power play 3 minutes in, and they don't score on it. PP1, again, just struggling, not generating much. There is a Carcone crossbar. So again, the second unit generating more pressure and chances in the first unit. Detroit had 0 shots on goal for the first 7 minutes of the third period. Again, great job to withhold the home team from getting any looks on your goaltender. There's a Detroit partial breakaway off to the side, but it gets denied by Vejmelka. And then Utah commits a pretty bad penalty. It's Lawson Krause in the neutral zone. A retaliatory penalty in the middle of the third period, up 2-0. That's a leader. He wears a letter on his jersey, Krause does. And that's not a good penalty. That's, kind of pee-wee hockey penalty where he gets frustrated and sort of throws hands to the player's face and he gets called for roughing. In that situation, you do not want to do that. You do not want to give the other team, the home team especially, any life. And on that power play, about 10 seconds left, it was a good kill until 10 seconds left. And Detroit scores to make it 2-1. It's behind the net to the slot, a one-timer, top shelf past Vejmelka, and Detroit had all the momentum after this goal. The crowd was into it. You could actually hear them finally after 50 minutes of game time. It's only 2-1. About 10 minutes left in the third. I thought it's only a matter of time before Detroit scores and ties it, and we go into overtime. They were just dictating and controlling the play, overpowering Utah since making it 2-1. But against momentum, they have a good forechecking shift. The second line does, of Hayden, Gunther, and Krause. Hayden gets a great shot off. I wish he got an assist on this goal, but unfortunately, it hits a Detroit player's defender stick back to the goaltender, and Dylan Gunther is there in the crease waiting for the puck to throw it into the empty net. It's unassisted, but would have liked Hayden to get rewarded there. So it's 3-1 Utah with 4 or 5 minutes left in the third, and they score immediately 31 seconds later again to make it 4-1. It's Keller off to the side, finds Stenlund in the slot, uncovered, uncontested, a one-timer past the goaltender to make it 4-1, and Utah wins. They're 2-1 on the road trip, a successful road trip. They have a game Friday night at home against New Jersey. New Jersey won against Vegas Wednesday night. And, New Jersey's missing Jack Hughes. They're a bit injured. They're struggling a little bit. They got to take advantage of New Jersey struggling. And then a big pivotal playoff implication game at home Sunday against the Winnipeg Jets, who's biting at the heels of Utah. And they got their number one goaltender, Hellebuck, back in net. For possession, Utah 48%, 5-on-5 in the first, and it jumps up to 55 in the second and 75 in the third. Great to see that. Expected goals 5-on-5, 2.26 for Utah, and under 1 for Detroit, 0.94. The analytics loved Utah for this game. Dylan Guenther gets that very important third goal. When Utah scores 3 goals or more, they're 16-6, which is crazy. When they score under 3 goals, Utah is 1-10-3. Dylan Guenther has 6 goals in the past 6 games. He's stepped it up since Cooley's injuries. Everyone needs to step it up. Would like a little bit more from that first line, but I think Keller had a really good game with that goal and that great primary assist right after making it 3-1 on Stenlund's goal to make it 4-1. Like I said, Vejmelka leads the league in wins with 15. Durzi, 4 points in the past 5 games. And just the defending of Utah in this Detroit game was unbelievable. Look at the 5-on-5 shot attempts for Detroit. Nothing in the crease area or just barely outside the crease area. Love this for the defending of Utah. Great that they scored all their goals 5-on-5. They're not power play merchants, but their power play needs to be better. Again, donuts on the board, going 0 for 4. Shots on goal total, 28-28 for both teams. 3 for 4 on the penalty kill for Utah, and 45% on the faceoff dot for Utah. We might see Kerfoot coming back maybe Friday, Sunday, maybe against the Avalanche the day before Christmas Eve, or maybe we see him after Christmas. He's practicing. He went on the road trip. He's in a full contact jersey, so it's only a matter of time before another depth centerman gets injected into the lineup. We will for sure see some lineup shuffling once Kerfoot comes into the lineup. Maybe we see him up at the top with Keller and Schmaltz. Maybe Peterka drops a second line with Hayden and Guenther, and then Krause third line. I don't know what you do with Boo. Tanev's been scratched a lot lately in favor of O'Brien. I would love Tanev to come back into the lineup. I think he just brings speed, brings energy, finishes checks. O'Brien, yeah, he just plays a simple game, which is hard to take him out, but I would like to see Tanev in there instead of O'Brien. And DeSimone played against Detroit. Mata played against Boston. Mata had a lot of mistakes against Boston, and I like DeSimone's game against Detroit, so I'm sure they'll stick with the same lineup heading to Friday night unless Kerfoot comes into the lineup. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.